first by asking, when did you start your business and how did you come up with your business name?
That was back in probably 2000. I was at a conference and one of the keynote speakers was talking about being a resource for your clients. And I thought, yeah, I want them to think of me as like their single point, like their point of contact for things. And I thought, single point, like that's a great name, Single Point Financial Advisors. And while the gentleman was still talking, and I did buy his book because I kind of felt bad because I went off and got distracted, but I'm like drawing out my logo and, it's a ripple effect. It's like the point sets off each piece of the relationship of the things that I help with of my clients' lives. And so that became my logo, and it still is to this day. So, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients, what it is that you do, what's most gratifying about your work, what you really enjoy about it?
Sure. I'll just start with the most gratifying because that's my favorite part. I get to listen to their hopes, their dreams, and their fears every single day. So people come into the office and we get to go through all of those things. And money's hard for people for whatever reason. And they come in almost apologetic to me for whatever state they're in, even if it's amazing or if they're in debt or whatever. And I think, I'm here to help you. So what I do is I work with people in really a holistic approach. So there are pieces, like those layers of financial topics. I don't necessarily sell insurance for your car or your house or, other policies or things. But what I do is I help make sure you've got all of those pieces covered. Look at them to make sure that what you're doing is the right thing for you. And I help with the long-term part. So the financial planning, I want to retire at 59. How do I do that? I want to make sure my grandkids or my children have college paid for. I want to leave a legacy. When I leave this planet, I want it to be better than when I was brought here. That's the stuff that I help people with. I help them get from where you are now, figure out that path to get to where you want to be. And of course, I have to say I can't guarantee that I do that stuff, but it's a journey that we go on together to try to help you get to that spot. And there's adjustments along the way.
Well, for sure. And we were talking about this a little earlier. There's so many mindsets. There's so much depth to what is causing our beliefs about money, which creates our actions around money, and then which then plays into the role of the kind of lifestyle that we're living. Then as an entrepreneur, making decisions on what we're going to spend on ourselves for personal development and then what we're going to invest in with our business. Money is so incredibly complex, and I wanted to just open up the conversation, to talk about it, for one, because the avoidance is then creating the lack of abundance. And I know as I continue on my journey to welcome more abundance, that's what I want for anyone in my life, too. I want them to feel really abundant and have very positive beliefs, shift their beliefs about money. What would you say has been challenge for you around money?
I think for me, it's the same thing. We all have beliefs around money in some form that came from somewhere before we were cognizant that we had them. So, I grew up in a very middle class family. My mom was an administrative assistant for a nonprofit. My dad was a teacher. My mom was the one who handled the bookkeeping. She did it at work and at home. My dad has almost no attachment to money, and it's kind of fascinating. And I'll tell you, someday expect a book from me on my dad's lessons about money because he doesn't even know he gives them, and I love that. But it was interesting because there was the stress from mom of never having enough, and then the stress, dad being like, we're good. We've got what we need. We've got a roof over our head, food on the table, we're doing what we need to do. So we all get these things from somewhere. And some people, it's not just the parents, it's the teachers or the siblings or, religious figures, whatever. There's influences. And I feel like a lot of people today, we get them so much from, and I don't want to say media because that's a big thing, but we get so much influence from even social media. We see what our friends, bought a new car or got a new house or bought a jet ski, whatever, or got new outfits. And there's that artificial pressure that we get applied on money, about money to us. But as far as personal, I've been through through it all. And I feel like sometimes when you're in a role of being someone who's talking to people about their money, there's this thought that I've never made any errors or that I'm perfectly set up. So, I'm some kind of a super authority just by my natural way I am. I've always been a saver. But when it comes to things in my world, I've gone through, potentially buying 3 businesses, bought the third, but there's been roller coaster through all of that, ramifications of all of that, the saving, the losing. When I went out on my own 100%, it was in the end of 2007. Well, you might remember 2008 and 2009 weren't that great of years in the economy nor the market. When you're in an industry where you get paid based on what they call assets under management or commissions for selling new products, all of a sudden the assets you have under management are roughly 40% less than they were. That means your income is roughly 40% less than it was. Oh, plus you're now no longer working for someone else running their business for them. You're just on your own. Reality hits. And I had been an incredible saver, but I tell you what, over the next few years, every penny I had was put back into keeping the business going. But I tell you what, I knew and I know that I was meant to do this. It's not what I thought I was going to do when I was a kid. But what I do is so fulfilling, and I get to see the true help that I give people. I mean, just the relief when people leave the office. When my meetings end, I'm pointing because my desk is in the next room. When my meetings end, there are hugs. It's not, occasionally handshakes for the shy people. But, we create this incredible relationship because I'm helping people in an area that's scary. But, yeah, I've been through it, and I know what it's like to just go down and be on that, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to make it through tomorrow, and say yes, absolutely. And tomorrow's the next day, and it's going to be fine. But yeah. So I've been through a lot.
I think it is a common misperception that you know it all and you got it all. But the reason why we're experts is because we've experienced it and we've gone through the fears and through the, through the dark areas and stuff. And that is why, because we've learned, and so it compels us to help share what it is that we've learned. And it also relieves us of feeling like you have to be a perfectionist in how you're helping people. They don't connect with that. They want to, I feel like, especially with money, I want to know when I'm coming to you, I want to know that you understand me. You understand how fearful I am, or you understand that these are limited beliefs and I'm struggling with it. I want to be, those are the best relationships. So I really love your transparency with that and appreciate it. And one of the things that I have that's also a new, what I call a success habit. Success habits are those little things that we do that get us closer to the results that we want. And I heard you mention a success habit already, which is saving. Is there anything that maybe your dad's wisdom or something taught you about savings that you can share with us?
I would say it's again, getting in the mind frame of paying yourself first. And you hear that in different programs, or people say, always pay yourself first. But what does that mean? What it means is, you're the only one that's able to look out for you. You're talking about moms and, they're giving away all their time to their kids and their spouse and taking care of, and then they get sick and everything falls apart because they didn't take time to take care of themselves first. Without taking care of yourself first, you can't be healthy enough to take care of the others around you. You're talking about moms and, they're giving away all their time to their kids and their spouse and taking care of, and then they get sick and everything falls apart because they didn't take time to take care of themselves first. Without taking care of yourself first, you can't be healthy enough to take care of the others around you. I have a colleague who used to do some training on health and wellness, and one of the things she said is it's being selfish to not put yourself first. So we always think it's selfish to put ourselves first. You're actually being selfish by not putting yourself first because you're not giving the best of you to the world. You're not sharing your best. And so when you think of it in those terms, paying yourself first, whether it be, if things are tight, maybe start with 2 or 3% of what you bring in, that you're just putting that aside for you. Ideally, you're putting away, 10-ish%. Just in, you have that money set aside, it takes away some of that stress. It's frustrating, but you now aren't having to think about, oh my gosh, now what credit card am I going to use, or how's my credit score? Am I going to be able to get this financed, or whatever that thing is. But just putting away something, getting in the practice of putting yourself as your first priority. It's again that ripple effect. When you start taking care of you first, then guess what? It's a little bit easier to prioritize each thing after that. There is a fund. Every January I see it come through, or late December on Facebook. The little save $1 week 1, $2 week 2, $3.
Yeah. Yes.
I've seen so many people who attempt that and they make it part of the way through the year and then like, oh, I didn't do the whole year. I'm like, but you know what? You now have $567 you didn't have sitting in savings. Great. So maybe you just keep doing $5 a week or $10 a week, whatever point was still feeling good to you before it was, I guess, $52 a week, whatever that point was, keep doing it. Keep doing it because it's the practice of what you're doing that's helping you put yourself first so that you can, show up in other areas of your life in the best way possible.
Really keyed in on something that you mentioned too is do what makes you feel good. Again, that's getting into the relationship with money. I know that we can get so caught up in rules. You need to do this and not do that. And it's a real negative connotation about money. So getting back into one of the things that you definitely do with your clients that I get also, and that helps contribute to our relationship with money, it gives us freedom. It gives us freedom. And isn't that, we're living in America. We can cage ourselves. We can cage ourselves or prevent ourselves from the very right that exists in the country we live in. And so doing what feels good. When you talk about putting yourself first, there's a couple things that came to mind that I want to clarify. Because, again, I work with clients who accumulate things. And we want to get that in a way that's that those things are working for them and supporting them instead of accumulating and holding them back. What I want to clarify is that, I'm an ex-shopaholic, admittedly. And so what I used to do is I would shop when I was bored or when I was trying to fulfill some hole in myself. So like if I was lonely or bored or upset, I'd go shopping because it'd give me immediate gratification. And so then here I have these things that gave me immediate gratification, but not long term. And so it wasn't the best use of my money. And that could be perceived as putting yourself first, right? And so that's why
that's just the opposite.
So that's why I wanted to clarify and bring that up, because I know that that's not what you were really getting at. It's really about putting yourself first in a way where you are spending money that really, really touches your heart and makes you feel good. I know I went to a workshop I'm going to give a little shout out to Shannon Kaiser of Find Your Happy. She has an amazing book, bestseller, and she had a teaching on some positive money mindsets also. And one of those things is spend money when you're feeling good, when you're in that mindset, because then you're going to be welcoming more of that abundance into you. So just wanted to clarify that, because I so agree with you. And I think that you said something that I just was like an aha moment, which is when you talked about selfish, and reframing that. It's selfish to not show up as your full potential and yourself to this world. And if you're using money in a way to hide and play small, it's an illusion. So thank you so much for sharing. I think that's really great. I think a lot of viewers can really take that.
Then I'll give a shout out. Julia Sarver is the person I credit with that, because she's the one that has preached that to me. So, yeah.
Do you have anyone that inspires you or has inspired you in the past that's like somewhere in the financial realm or anything like that, or just in general, someone that inspires or motivates you?
The thing that I'll say about myself is I actually get I learn from every person I meet. So there's always a lesson to be learned in every situation you're in. And if you're willing to open yourself up to what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn from this, it makes life a lot more fun. It's instead of feeling like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing my little huffy arms. I can't believe that happened to me. Poor me. Instead of doing that and saying, wow, what did I do to manifest the situation, or what could I have done differently to make that go better? I choose mentors. I don't necessarily let them know they are my mentor. I love to get to know people. I love to find people who are doing things that I admire, or the way that they run their business, people who I want to emulate.
Really was fascinated when we were first talking a few weeks ago about the millennials and their mindsets and some observations that you've noticed on how they're making some really smart moves with their money that we can really take some notes to learn from them. Can you share some of those observations?
It's funny because, I'm a Gen Xer, proud of my Gen Xness. Gen X people are finally coming into their own and starting to, actually get to, invest and plan for futures and instead of just go, what happened? I thought we were going to have everything, and now it's like, I got a minimum wage job. Yay. Yeah. But millennials, I feel, are very, very conservative and very, I've had couples come in my office late 20s with nearly $70,000 in the bank because, they want to buy a home someday, right? And they're going to need a down payment, and they figure, they're going to need like whatever it was, $90,000. So that's the money for the home. Oh, and they're fully funding their 401ks, and they have Roth IRAs, and it's mind-boggling. But also seem to value lifestyle in the sense of wanting to enjoy life and kind of have it on their terms more than, I work and my reward is this pay, but then I can go enjoy my life. It's more like, I'm going to save the money so that I can dictate the terms, but that I can create terms around being able to go enjoy life in the way I want to enjoy it. So part-time jobs are great. But it's just, again, that wanting lots of information, making educated decisions, and being very, very conservative in the sense of risk-averse with money. And it's been fascinating to watch.
Do you feel that there's minimized fear that they have with money then, like with the relationship, because there's these habits of responsibility that they're engaging in versus, like you're describing us as Gen X, maybe we were taught to with a lot more fear in our relationship with money, and even like you were saying, we're still coming a very transitional generation of, our parents stayed in jobs in the same companies for years and years and years. That's no longer what's happening anymore.
Possibly. I think it's a different kind of fear. Millennials have never had the sense that they would ever work in a job for a lifetime. Gen X, we were told you do this, you graduate high school with a good GPA, you get into college, and then you go to college and you have a job. And that job will, provide you for the rest of your life. And that wasn't the truth. It was not the case, but it was for, the boomer generation. Millennials have never been promised that. They've never been told you're going to have a job forever. They've been taught really, and I shouldn't say taught. I've noticed that most of them that I've worked with, they know they're going to have multiple jobs. They have a skill and they have a thing that they love to do. And so it's almost like, if you don't know when your next job is coming, or this job is only for 6 months or a year, and then I'm going to be on to the next thing, you just have that tendency to be a little bit more nesting, to make sure that you've got what you need taken care of. And I think it's a different fear. It's a fear of not having versus not having a fear of a relationship with money. I think it's just a different type of fear. Yeah. But I think everybody has some kind of fear around money. It's just, determining what that is.
Yeah. Well, we have definitely had money talk. We have leaned into it today. Thank you so much for sharing. You brought up so many really good tips, and I'm hoping that anyone that's watching is really being able to take notes and educate themselves and apply what is going to inspire them to take action in a positive way.
Well, I have a lot of great resources on my website, and that's singlepointadvisors.com. And advisors is O-R-S. Some people spell with an E, but in my world, we're O-R-S. It's very important. But there's a lot of great calculators on there. Some I have that are always there. Some I rotate so that there's just different things that are on there all the time. But if you have debt and you want to know how long it'll take to get out of it, there's calculators there to look at that. There's some interesting videos. They don't feature me, I'm sorry, website limitations, but we've got different videos on there on different saving or tax ideas, like what is the true cost of that latte every day. Real interesting, fun things, and some flip books on different topics that you can go and kind of look through. But that's a great place to start. And if something, piques interest and you want to have a one-on-one conversation, of course, email, call, and I'm happy to talk to people. I should say I also do workshops throughout the year. There's a seminar tab on the website too. So if you're in the local area and one of the workshops appeals, please, by all means, come and enjoy, my stand-up comedy act that I'll do at the workshop.
Well, thank you again so much for sharing your knowledge and your expertise with us today. Again, anyone that's watching, my goal for this video series is that this, in some way, the message reaches you to inspire you to take action to something that you're wanting to bring into your life. Money is such it's something we all have to work with, and so and there's so many limited beliefs and different beliefs about it. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. For more of these videos, please visit www.organizezenliving.com. Share with your friends, click like, subscribe, and look forward to next time. Thank you so much.